Hey guys, and welcome back to the 14th day of the 25 days of KITMAS. For this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you set up in different locations depending on the size of the space that's available to you. Let's just talk about the fact that as makeup artists, we are not always gifted a large amount of table space each and every time we go on site to set up. About 99.9% of our jobs is on-site work, so we usually do not have control over which space we are given. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I set up in a large amount of table space, and then also how I condense myself into a smaller table space, and show you guys how you can easily adapt depending on the things that you might have around you. So here is my table space that I have currently going on. If you are setting up in somebody's house, for instance, a lot of the times I'm doing weddings and they're getting ready either at their house or their parents' house, a friend's house, etc. And a kitchen table, or maybe even dining room table, kitchen island, something like that is the most ideal place to set up in somebody's house. This is because you not only have the adequate amount of table space, but you also usually do have large windows to set up in front of, which provides natural light. The only problem with this location is that you might possibly run into a lot of foot traffic. Most often, if you're in a kitchen, people will be grabbing things to eat. It might be by a bathroom. So my best tip for this to avoid as much traffic as possible is to set up next to a wall or in a corner with that table in front of you. We are going to go ahead and set up the kit. Now, I have heavily condensed my kit to the point where I really don't need that much space. The only thing that I definitely do need is enough counter space to set up my kit on top of, and then I also need enough table space to set the station next to it. That's the only requirements that I personally need as far as my kit station setup. I do know of artists, if they haven't quite condensed all of their stuff, they usually do have a couple of different bags going on, and they might have a separate brush belt like I do. I do need a separate space for my bag, but it does not need to be on the same plane as the rest of my kit. I can set it on a chair next to me. With my kit specifically, I do require my actual bag to set up on the counter that's at least chest height to me, so I'm not bending over and hurting my back every single time I'm getting stuff out of my kit. And mine is a set style bag, as you can see, so I usually do work directly out of this bag. I'm going to swing over to the other side, and then what I'm going to do is set my bag up over here. I usually like to set my bag up on the left if I can. It just provides a better workspace for me because I am right-handed, so the majority of stuff I'm going to be setting up on the actual table space next to me and then working from there. I do have this silicone mat that I got off of Amazon. I know I get a ton of questions over this, but I did get it off of Amazon. So as you might have seen, I just had this issue where the countertop is not wide enough to fit my bag and also the mat in its full length. So I had to slide a little bit of the mat underneath the bag. And then I'm just going to push the bag a little bit closer to me, and then I'll just work off of this space right here. And then my brush bag is sitting right at the end here. Over on this side of the bag, I do keep a brush canister, and then this guy usually sits open, and then it fits right in between the two bags right here. I scooted you up a little bit higher just so you can kind of see it more from an aerial view. Now, the only things I really have left are to get out all the accessory type things. I do carry two different setting sprays. Since they are a little bit taller than the brush canister, I do want to put them right behind here. Then I also want to get a trash bag for one of the sides here. So I have some dog poo bags. I'm going to open up this brush bag, tuck the back flap behind here so it's open and accessible. Then I do have all of my little tools inside of the front pouch of the brush bag. So I have my makeup palette that I'm going to get out. I have my spatula, and then I usually take out these three items right here, which are scissors, lash glue, and my lash applicator, because I will use those on each application. And then the only thing I have left is to get out my mirror, which is right on the side of this bag. And I'm going to slide the bag over really quickly because the mirror I'm going to wedge right in between and then prop up on the side. Okay, I lied. I forgot the top section. I get out my skincare bag too. That's going to sit over there. And then I do have dirty brushes going on in this pouch, but this is my dirty brush pouch. And then I'll set that behind the bag. In the second half of the canister, I do put all the brushes that I'm working with currently. So for the person that is currently in my chair, then once they leave my chair, I scoop all the brushes out, put them in this brush bag, and then that way I can use clean, fresh brushes on each and every person, and I'm not wasting time spot cleaning. Spot cleaning is also not 100% hygienic, so I do not even mess with it when I'm on site. That way I can easily transition from one person to another. And then sometimes I do pull out my little handheld light right here to take photos of people or videos. Usually this little skincare bag just gets set up like right over here. I'll just open it to get it ready for the first person, and that's about it. So yes, this ideally would be my large kit station setup. And let me go ahead and pack everything up, transition to another location, and then I'll show you how I would deal with a station setup if I did not have this much space. Okay guys, so we have transitioned over to the next place that I wanted to show you guys how to set up, and this is the dreaded end tables. Yes. We all have probably had this situation where we've either one, walked into somebody's house and all they had for us was setting up on an end table, pointed to it and is like, is this going to work for you? And in your head, you're like, nope, but I'm going to deal with it apparently. Most often though, you will probably run into this if you are in a hotel room specifically. Sometimes they do have nice large desks where you can set up by the window, but sometimes hotel rooms do have these like more trendy kind of tables where they're just little round end tables and you really don't have much room to set up on. And this is kind of what I have inside of my house. Just for like decor, it really doesn't fit that much except for a table lamp and some coasters. So I wanted to show you guys specifically how you would utilize this space if you were in a hotel room or in somebody's house and all they had was this to set up. I do want to say right now that ideally, I would just bring in my own table. I do carry a folding table in the trunk of my car that is probably about the same length as the countertop that I just set up on, maybe a little bit longer. It folds in half and has a handle and is portable. So ideally I would bring that in because that is at least waist height, so I don't have to constantly bend over and go get my stuff. With this one, you definitely will be setting up on a lower surface height, so I would definitely recommend bringing a table in this situation. But for right now, we are dealing with the worst of the worst, and this is what it is. So yes, guys, this is the space that I'm talking about. This is literally not that big of an end table at all. I am not a big person at all, but if I stand next to it, you can clearly see compared to my hand, it's probably like maybe 5 of my hand widths across. It's really not that large. Usually there's either a couch or a chair next to the end table. So I would definitely utilize that furniture piece that's next to it to set up your bag. And again, this is only if you have a set style bag. If you have something that goes on the floor, then you could just set your bag on the floor next to it. But since I work out of my bag, then I have to have a place next to me to set up my bag. Most of the time there is going to be lamps or coasters or some decor that's sitting on the end tables. If you are in somebody's house, I would obviously ask if you can move them. Usually people have no problem saying, yeah, you can move it because they do expect you to probably have to move things around to be able to get set up. So if that's the case, you can either unplug the lamp all the way and then move it somewhere else, or you can just set it down on the floor, which if it's in a corner like this, you're clearly not going to be stepping over in this area, so you won't trip over it or anything. And then I would just move the coasters to a different area in your house. And what you want to do is you definitely want to go ahead and clean off this whole entire area. It's already clean. I just cleaned my house, so I already have the surface cleaned. I do recommend carrying a travel pack of disinfectant wipes with you at all times to wipe down any surfaces before you set your kit up on it. Okay, so this is what I would highly recommend is your flat surface like this. I would recommend putting your table station setup on. So this is where I'd put my silicone mat on top of here. With the silicone mat though, clearly it does not all fit on the table, which is completely fine. You mainly just want it to cover the surface that you're working on. So with this being said, I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my station like I did before. That includes moving over the brush canister and setting up the trash bag inside of it. Like this. Then I'm going to be setting up my setting sprays. And in this case, I think I'm going to put the setting sprays on the side because I don't want to put them behind here. Otherwise, I might just knock them over. I'm going to get out all my tools. So my palette and my spatula, and then the little utensils that I have. So the scissors, lash glue, and lash applicator. That is honestly pretty much it as far as my station setup goes. I really don't need any other space than that particular area. So now we're moving on to the other stuff. Okay, so this is what the bag looks like while it's sitting up here. Of course, ideally, this is literally not high enough. you would be hurting your back and bending down the entire time, and it would not be super functional, especially if you're doing more than like 3 people, I would say. Your back's gonna start killing you after a while. But again, we're going as in there is nothing else that you can do about the situation. So in this case, I would pull out my dirty brush pouch, pull out the skincare bag. You can always put the skincare bag in front of the trash can on the station over there, which I actually am going to. I'm gonna set that over there for now. And then we're just gonna flip this over, get the mirror out, put it on the side, open the brush belt, tuck it in on the back, maybe set the bag of dirty brushes behind it. I'm bent down on the floor right now, and I just wanted you guys to see my dog because he decided to lay on my feet on the floor. Anyways, ideally though, this is what the actual station setup would look like though. If you did only have a small table like this, and then you maybe had a couch or some chairs that were next to it. If you do have chairs, you could scoot 2 chairs over here. You would use one for the bag and then one for the brush belt. Most often chairs have backs to them, so you'd be able to lean stuff up against it on the back. Hopefully this video was very helpful for people who do have an issue with setting up in tighter spaces. I know it is definitely a problem, but of course, being an on-site makeup artist, you don't really have a choice. You kind of just have to set up wherever people designate you to set up. But anyways, comment down below though what the worst setup location you've ever had to deal with was. I'm curious to know in the comments down below. If you guys like this video, definitely go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, as well as also subscribing down to my channel if you guys have not already. Don't forget to turn on your notifications because you do not want to miss an upload from the 25 days of KITMAS. And as always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys in tomorrow's video. All right, bye.